Super Draco here, and welcome back to Pack 5 of Build Optimus Prime. So we're going to finish up his lower left arm, and that'll finish up both of his arms. So, just fair warning to those who've watched Pack 3, this is very similar, so I'm going to probably fast forward a bunch of stuff that's highly repetitive. So to get started, we need the sprues here. And we need parts 1, 2, and 3, and then also part number 6. So as we take these off the sprues with my nipper or side cutter, I'm not being overly cautious because these aren't painted. The outer covers are painted, and they'll need a little bit more care. So, I find this is easier if you take the parts and arrange them to match the picture and the instructions. So it just helps, at least for me, it helps with builds like these, kind of flowing things together. So, first thing we're going to do is we got this sheet of rubber washers. They're labeled 5-47. I wonder if these are what you would call a bushing. Anyway, so these are to add friction to the fingers so they're not all floppy and not relying on the screws for tension. So you're going to use a total of 4 for the thumb. Because if you look at your thumb, it only has two bending joints because the third joint's actually part of our palm. So, and then we're going to fit 2 more bushings. I'm calling these bushings. I don't know if they are or not. I should look it up, but I'm going to be lazy. And I'll probably alternate between washer and bushing. Now, if you have the pieces lined up right, there's actually a ring printed onto the pieces so you know where the bushing sits. So, to line this up properly, that notch lines up with the other side. And then, now that that's done, we're going to bring in my new screwdriver. This is a Christmas gift, so you all get to watch me stumble through learning how to use it. So we're going to cut till I have it all set up. So we're going to use 2 2x5mm PB screws that are black, and that's going to lock the thumb together. And with that done, we're going to take part number 4 from sprue 521, or 5-21 I should say. So we've got these 3 of these part 5-45, these little plastic, again, I'm just going to call them bushings. I might be using the wrong name, but that's what I'm going with. So with that done, then we're going to bring in part 5-15. Now, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to drop part 4 right through there. It's going to go all the way through, and then the bushings will help it slot into place. So then with that done, we're going to come back to sprue 5-21 and get part number 5. Now, my nippers can't quite get into that one recess, so I'm probably going to trim that with my scalpel. Now, again, be safe with your scalpel. Unlike me, always cut away from your body. So, what we're going to do here is part 5 is going to basically rest onto part 4. And so then we're going to attach the thumb to it and then lock the whole thing together with two 2x5mm PB screws. So with that done, then we're going to bring in sprue 5-17. This is a painted sprue, so you want to be careful about how you cut the parts off. Now I'm going to come in at the same angle as the part linking it to the sprue, so these parts have to be glued on. Now, because there's not a lot of surface area, you don't want to go super heavy on glue, but at the same time, you don't want to be stingy with it. So you just slide it on, and that's part number 1. So we're going to rinse and repeat with part number 2. Number 2 has a nice circular peg, so I'm just dotting glue onto both sides of that, because when the parts marry together, it's going to squish the glue around. Now you'll notice part number 1's still loose. We're going to fix that. And as always, follow the instructions so you make sure your orientation is right, because 1 and 2 actually are vaguely opposites. And then number 3 is obviously going to cover the tip of the digit. And once you've got a sufficient amount of glue on the pegs, now for part number 1, it actually, or for part number 3, it actually, I think, recommends, no, it does recommend gluing both. I'm looking at the instructions wrong. So with that done, the only thing left to do is to make sure the finger can bend. That came off way too easily, so that means we need to increase the glue. And then now you can see it's not nearly as loose. So that'll do it for the thumb. So next we're going to do the little finger. So for the little finger, we're going to need the sprue 5-22 and 5-23. So we're going to cut out parts 12, 13, and 15. Additionally, we're going to need one copy of a part from sprue 5-26. These are all exactly the same, and they serve the exact same purpose on all 4 of the rest of the digits. So just like the thumb, this is going to be made easier by just sorting it into the vague configuration we're looking for. So we're going to bring in our rubber washers or bushings. Again, I don't know if bushing's the right term. So the assembly, we're going to use 6 bushings because we have an extra joint. But other than that, this is exactly the same, other than we'll use 3 PB screws at the end. So now that we've got the first 2 bushings on, we take the tip of the digit, slide that on, take the middle section of the digit, slide that on, so again, there's an outline printed into it so you can see where you want your little bushing to sit. And someone out there who has an engineering or mechanical background is probably just screaming at how many times I've said bushing. Yeah, and I'm not a mechanic or an engineer, I work medical. So then our part from 5-26 goes there. One last bushing goes on top of that. And so then now we're going to attach parts 14 and 16 from the remaining sprues with 3 2x5mm PB screws. So first up, we're going to free part 12, or I'm sorry, part 16. I don't know why I said 12. And then we'll get some screws. Now, because this is plastic, you don't want to over torque it because it will stress the plastic. And if you stress the plastic, the joint's going to be basically limp and useless. So then we're going to bring over part 14. Again, you notice it's got a ridge molded in that lines up with another ridge, and then our remaining 2 screws are going to hold it down. So you always want to check your joints before you permanently fix the covers on, because you can get those covers off. It's just going to be a lot of work, and you always risk breaking them. So always check your stuff, then check your joints, then move on. So then we're going to bring in sprue 5-18 parts 4, 5, and 6. So part number 4 is going to be your fingertip. The instructions only show you putting glue on the first peg and none of the others. And I've just noticed I had some sprue left on that. So we'll just quickly take care of that. Alright, so part number 5 is going to go on the middle part of the digit. So again, we got one of those round pegs, so we just need a good bead of glue on both sides. Again, mind your orientation, and the tip fell off. Now honestly, it's fitting pretty snug, so I just think I didn't give the glue enough time to set. Now if you notice, my screws are poking out quite a ways, and I'm not a fan of that. Because I don't remember the left hand having that issue. And so for part number 6, it's going to be much of the same. You got a nice tube or peg, whatever you want to call it, that you can put a good bead of glue on both sides. And again, mind your orientation as you connect it. And when you straighten it out, everything should line up nice and smooth. And there we go. That is the pinky finger done. Thanks for watching. Check out my fantasy story, King of Mercenaries on Fiction Press. See you for part 2.